Hello, Philadelphia! I'm Bruce Buffer. It's time for the Anthony Gargano Show!
Good evening, everybody. Happy Wednesday night. Welcome. We are live at Parks Casino right here, Ben Salem, right in this beautiful sports book as we hang out for a little Cousins Corner. We revisit one of our favorite shows, Cousins Corner, where I get my man, the Brain, and we go through all of the weekend's football. We love it. We love it. And, soon to be hoops and hockey and Red October. So we're all in on a little Cousins Corner. We love this as we hang out. Don't forget, we are presented by here as this incredible sportsbook. If you can't get to the sportsbook, don't fret. Check out the Bet Parks Sportsbook and online casino app. Ready to go. Birds, 2.5-point underdogs at Tampa this weekend. You have all that stuff. Don't forget all the props that you can bet on. Brad's got a slew of games and a slew of plays for you to dive into between NFL and college. Bet more than just the score, right? You got Thursday Night Football tomorrow night, Giants in Dallas. We'll talk about that. And don't forget, while you're having some fun watching the games and betting the games, you can also play your favorite casino games right on your phone. Live dealer blackjack, craps, roulette, and while you're just watching the game, man. Bet on all your favorite sports, and you get to play. Make your downtime fun time. Download the Bet Parks app right now. Enjoy all the action and excitement from the casino at your fingertips. They have a new slot game, the Peaky Blinders slot game, based off the TV show, one of my favorites, actually. New users, in fact, get up to $1,000 casino bonus back if you're down the first 24 hours. See betparks.com for details. It's got to be 21 in PA, New Jersey, Michigan. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. You play for fun. You love to win. You bet. Bet Parks. All right, let me get my main man, the Kimosabi. He is the big brain, the ambassador to Bet Parks. He, of course, is Brad Feinberg, the brain. Brain. Good morning, or good evening. I'm so used to saying good morning, Bradley. Good evening, Bradley. How are you, buddy?
Outstanding, my friend. Looking forward to doing the show with you, buddy.
Well, this is stuff that we love, where we get to go over all the games. Because it's really an excuse for us to talk and hang out and discuss all this stuff. You know what I mean? Like, we love to analyze it. And a lot of times, talking through it helps you,
For sure. 100%.
You kind of talk.
Let me ask you a quick question, Anthony. Is Dallas Goedert, I saw he didn't practice today. Is that serious, or are you not sure?
No, I know. I heard it wasn't. No, he's good. In fact, I just got an email from the Eagles, their PR, which I'll dig up and share with you. But no, he's not worried about. I'm not worried about Goddard. It's the rest of the offense that that you're worried about, because they are really thin. And
Does A.J. Brown have any chance?
I don't think so, dude. I know he's going to try, and if it's anybody, it's AJ. I just don't know why you would even do it and risk it,
Well, you saw what happened with Puka Nacua. And to me, again, you're running a franchise here, right? You're not just running this isn't the Super Bowl. It was a Super Bowl, like Terrell Owens came back that time. He's like, look, it's the Super Bowl. I have to do it. Then I get it, playoff game. But you're right, Anthony. You're trying to get the game, 18, hopefully, where you make the playoffs, and hopefully you get a bye in first round, and you need A.J. Brown healthy for that. And
I mean, you got a bye coming up.
It's not taking you to heaven.
No, exactly. You have a bye coming up in week 5. It just makes perfect sense, right? To just make sure he's good, because here's the beauty of winning in New Orleans. You got a cushion, right? You get that little cushion. There's a bit of desperation. You don't want to start off 1-3. I get that. So, but you won. So you're 2-1. And if you're 2-2 going into the bye, where you played 2 road games back-to-back and 1 game in Brazil against the Packers, listen, if I'm the Eagles, I gladly take 2-2.
Well, the other part is, which I think is a brilliant point, but you know what also is interesting to me is last year, if they had this exact same game, I don't think they'd be equipped to win it. because DeAndre Swift is,
Right.
whatever.
Agreed.
But Saquon Barkley is a franchise player, and you're seeing that. It's funny. It's really great watching it. It kind of reminds me, Anthony, if you agree with this comp, when T.O. came in, we all knew he was good. We all knew he was really good. But when he came in with we're like, wow. Like, this is just
it's eye-popping.
Different level. Watching Saquon Barkley, it's like, wow. This is just a different level. I mean, it's like,
totally.
He had some good running backs, but since B. West, like, this is he's better than Brian Westbrook probably even, but this is probably maybe the greatest running back they've had ever. I don't think that's an exaggeration.
No, I mean, if you look at their running backs, Wilbert, you got Ricky Waters, you mentioned Westbrook. Shady McCoy was great.
Shady McCoy was great.
Yeah, but I would agree. Yeah. I would agree. I do think
quick now they could actually play this game, Anthony, and they could say, you know what, put you on my back. We're going to give them the ball 23 times, and you know what? You know it's going to be a close game. We know this is going to be a close game. So you know what? Even without A.J. Brown, they could still easily win this game. They're not playing the 2014 Patriots here, as we saw last week with Denver.
Well, and honestly, I mean, I look at this offense, and listen, I know there's been a lot of talk. We talked about Sirianni today, and there's a lot of heat that's around them, and part of it's the nature of Philadelphia and carrying the way Philadelphia does. But the other piece of it is, the way they're built with this offensive line, they're good. Like that offensive line is really good. Once you get everybody healthy and back, you can go on a run where you're winning 5 out of 6 or 6 out of 8. Like you can easily do that. And I don't think it's a panic time. I mean, you got a little bit of answers on defense. Now I get it. You got to do a little bit more. But you saw Jalen Carter's a game wrecker. I love the secondary. I got to tell you,
Kenyon that's a strong Mitchell, part of the team, in my opinion.
I love Kenyon Mitchell.
Yeah, that to me is the strongest part of the defensively. I think that's the strongest group they have. But I got to tell you, Anthony, no, it's like that's a really, everything you're saying, I totally agree with. And here's the thing, Anthony, have you ever seen, since you've been following football, I mean, honestly, ever, because I don't think I've been able to. Tell me if you agree with me on this. I don't think I've ever had a lower ranked number 1 team power rating wise than this year that I can ever recall.
Oh, I agree.
Look, for example, we saw Kansas City, who probably is, let's call them the de facto number 1 Super Bowl champs, best player, undefeated. Okay. They are I mean, we saw them against, Atlanta, who we know is not that good, 50-50. We saw them get flat out outplayed by the Bengals. We saw them beat the Ravens on the last play of the game. I'm just saying, from the Eagles' point of view, there's no one out there where you're shaking in your boots saying, oh my God, what are we going to do?
No, I mean, the league loves the parity thing, and I think you got it full tilt, especially the NFC. I like the Chiefs a lot. Now, losing Pacheco was a big deal for them. But let's just focus on the NFC for a second.
Yep.
And I mean, look at the Niners and the whole McCaffrey situation. I think the Lions, I thought going into it, the Lions were the best team in the conference. But as good as I think the Lions are, I mean, right? They're not oh my God, I'm quaking.
No, and they have a lot of injuries. They've lost a couple of their offensive linemen. I can't remember the names of everyone they've lost. They've had a bunch of injuries already too. Now again, Campbell, and I think here's something I'm going to say, Anthony. Here's the difference between Dan Campbell and Nick Sirianni, and this is what I like about Dan Campbell, where I think Nick Sirianni can take a learning lesson. Dan Campbell. Do you remember, Anthony, the game against who'd they lose in week 2? They lost to who'd they lose to? They lost a close game. It was Tampa Bay.
Yes.
End of the first half.
At home.
He made a controversial decision not to kick a field goal, and after the game, he was in tears. He's like, I let my team down. I will never make that mistake again. Learning lesson for me as a coach. And Sirianni and me, instead of being defensive, he could have been like, listen, made a mistake, won't be my last one, but I won't make that mistake again. Going forward, I'll do better understanding the math and certain things, and the team picked me up. I would have had a lot more respect for him as opposed to trying to say why everything he's doing is correct.
I mean, how coaches are going to be like, listen, I think right now he doesn't have a feel. Like, sometimes I think you lose the feel of something. right? Like
Well, he probably feels that he's being iced out maybe a little bit, right, Anthony?
or isolated, right? Like I
Yeah,
mean,
isolated,
you know,
right?
when you're taking, you know, offensively, he's taking a little bit of a step back, right? When in the whole thing, so I'm sure you know that's a part of it, and he also, you know, he hears things. I mean, he's a bright guy, and he's got rabbit ears. He's in the community, and you know this town, man. This is when you
But I love
care.
this guy.
Well, no, that's the point, right? Like when you care,
him.
yeah, exactly. When you care this deeply, the flip side is it's just intense, and it'll be more intense even at 2-1 than other towns where you're 0-3, right? Like because everybody cares.
I'm in Miami.
I mean,
I'm in Florida. Let me tell you, dude. It's a joke here. A
Yeah.
joke. Like again, I'll always be Northeast. As much as I hate New York and Boston, I hate those teams, root against them with a passion. But the one thing I will say is I just love the Northeast fan base. Like to me, everything else is fugazi. Everything else sucks. But to me, the Northeast
I love
fan
you.
base,
That's
Anthony,
right.
and Philly, like, that's my life. That's what I grew up with. That's ingrained upon me. And anyone, that's why, again, if you don't want to be in that, to me, I would love to be in that. That's why I love Bryce Harper. Like, Bryce
Yes.
Harper's team, I really
Yes.
didn't know how
Yes.
Bryce Harper was going to be, I'll be honest. I didn't know. But Bryce Harper's, like, perfect. Like,
Well, I mean,
love
it's
it.
interesting. The team itself, right? This team loves the bright lights. One of the advantages I think the Phillies have going into Red October is when the lights are on, they shine. Like they like it, right? Like they love the pressure cooker. And that's where a team like the Dodgers have shriveled, right? Where the Phillies are different. And the fact that they're there, they like the environment of it, that makes them, I think, even more dangerous.
I will ask you this, Anthony. This is, I think I said to you on the air the other day, but it's just maybe you think this is hyperbole. You're going to say he hasn't had enough years. Is Shohei Ohtani the best player of all time?
Yeah, I mean, best I've ever seen. I mean, it's unquestionable. I mean, obviously, whatever predates us. But I mean, he just does everything. And oh, by the way, he pitches. So he's the best hitter that I've seen. Power, speed, and oh, by the way, he's an ace. It's not just he pitches. He's a one, right? Like that's what's so frightening about him, that he'll kick it up to 98, and he's a great. Like I've never seen anything. So I think without question, he's the best player by far that we've.
And I give them.
Ever
I actually
seen.
like how they hit him lead off. They get him the most possible at bats. He can run. He's a different kind of leadoff hitter. He has 55 stolen bases. I actually think now again, usually traditional, your best player you hit third or fourth, which I get. But I kind of let boom. He starts off those games, and boom, you're facing.
Well, that's why the Schwarber piece. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, I'm with you. Hey, let's start going through some of the games because you have a busy card for the weekend. So we'll go through some of the games, and then we got my man Joe Bartnik from the Bill Burr podcast. He's going to join us coming up because he's going to be here at Parks Casino tomorrow night with Joe Conklin for comedy night. He's a great dude, and he's a sports guy. So we love Brad and I are geeks. So we love our sports guys, and thanks to my man Andrew Frazier working hard to get this show ready to go. So let's begin. Tomorrow night, Thursday Night Football, TNF, Dallas Giants, Cowboys reeling. They're 5.5-point favorite against the Giants, who beat Cleveland this week. You want to talk about this league, which is really difficult to figure out. Now you got tomorrow night Cowboys Giants. I like Dallas. I just in a matchup. I don't see how. But listen, they gutted it out last week against Cleveland, the Giants.
Well, it's interesting, Anthony. Look, to me, the right play. The look-ahead line in this line was 7. And I bet the Giants +7 will look ahead line because I thought that line was too high. This line actually went all the way down to 4. Okay. Now it's sitting at 5. It's sitting at 5.5 right now on Parks. Here's the thing: we've seen a Dallas team, Anthony, that these last two. First of all, it's interesting. Their run defense against Aaron Jones ran for 5,000 yards against them. Derrick Henry ran for 5,000 yards against them. Who did they lose to in week 2? They lost to Kamara.
The Saints
destroyed them.
Yeah,
so
we scored.
We've watched the Dallas team, Anthony, with defensively
4
bring
touchdowns.
in Zimmer, hoping that'll make things right. And this has just been absolutely. I probably would say been if not the worst defense, maybe Washington, but right up there is the worst defense in the NFL. Giants, look, the Giants are extremely limited. They have a bad quarterback. They had a home run pick with Malik Neighbors. He's going to be a superstar. He already is one of the best players. Giants, look, they played. I like Dable as a coach. 5.5, Anthony. Again, this is not a game I bet. I thought the right line was right about here. I think it's a tough game. I think Dallas will win a game. I think Dallas will win the game, and I think it'll probably be between 4 and 7 points. I think it'll be a close game. I think it'll be a competitive game. I can't trust Dallas. The running game, Anthony, is so bad.
Yeah.
Like when you bring Zeke Elliott back, right, that would be like I mean, that would be.
Well,
like,
it's funny because the last week Dowdell gets.
He's not been.
He got 8 carries compared to Zeke, who got 3. I mean, even Deuce Vaughn got 2.
Right.
Dowdell.
They passed to him. Look, I think they're going to have to run the ball more because listen, when you just go pass, it's very hard. I think to win when you just. But here's the thing: they don't really have that great running game to just fall back on. At least, not that he was great, but Tony Pollard was at least serviceable for them.
Dude, listen. I'm with you. I didn't like the Cowboys going into this season.
We talked about
because of that. I mean, I went, all right, well, listen, CeeDee Lamb is a great talent, great player.
Yes. Cooks
is a good compliment off him. Ferguson's a good tight end. He's back healthy now. And, their offense their passing game is good. But with that run game, I don't get it.
I bet Dak under 35.5 pass attempts. Reason being, these last 2 weeks he's thrown the ball a zillion times. They've lost these games. Here's a game they're a 5.5 point favorite. I just think for them to win, and same thing with Trevor Lawrence, I just don't think they want to pass the ball. I think they're going to make a concerted effort to run the ball more, to keep their defense off the field, to have longer drives, and not just rely on Dak pass. I also took Daniel Jones under 201.5 yards. Dallas's run defense has been the worst in the NFL. I expect to see a heavy dose of Devin Singletary. And Daniel Jones, I'm going to get him over 200 yards.
What's his rushing props? Because I like Daniel Jones's rushing props.
Well, he's an incredible runner. I mean, for sure. I don't know what his number is. Let me see what it is right now.
Pull up on the Bet Parks sportsbook.
I'll bring it up right now. He's 31.5.
I love the over.
It's a healthy number. It's a healthy number. I mean, 31.5.
I love the over. They're going to use him in the run game. I love the over. Love it. In fact, Lamar ran for 87 last week. They'll run read option. I mean, we've seen him break off long runs before. He can get that in one swoop.
But Daniel Jones listen, as much as I rip Daniel Jones, and Anthony, again, I just have to go on this tangent. I can't help myself, and I apologize. But I always say, like, some things in life, and I would love it. I wish I knew some of these general managers because I would say, when everyone's zigging, maybe you zag. The running back market was established as, okay, the best running backs are making 12 to 14 million a year. And the quarterback market was, if you have a pulse, you're making 40 million.
Yeah.
And the thing I just didn't understand was, everyone knows Daniel Jones is a bottom tier start, like bottom 7, or a good backup. So I just don't get, if you asked any person, would you rather have Saquon Barkley or Daniel Jones on your team? Any person, who would you rather have? It would be unanimous. Like, unanimous. This isn't like, it's like, who's a better singer, me or Beyonce? It would be unanimous, Saquon Barkley. So I'm thinking to myself, if you're the Giants, why do you just say, all right, why don't you just pay Saquon an extra $1 million more and say to Daniel Jones, take this pay cut? What? I don't get when you just fall prey. Oh, the market's this. We can't pay Saquon because the market says he's not a running back's worth X. A Hall of Fame running back is worth $12 million, but starting quarterback that can't play a lick is worth 40.
Yeah, dude. I get you. It was a mystery. I think it was a mystery to Mara, the owner. So
you saw that via Hard Knocks. Even he didn't seem to understand.
I know. I listen. Look, they're a poorly run franchise, and that's the one thing you just see time and time again. But in this game, I think the Daniel Jones over rushing prop is the gold right there. I do like the Cowboys. I just think the matchup, like, Singletary's good, but he's not an elite back who's going to kill him. He's
an average running back, which is fine. He's like a DeAndre Swift. He's fine.
Yeah.
He's like drinking water. Nothing wrong with it. But he's not Saquon Barkley.
Drinking water.
You know?
By the way, the Phillies are already up 1-0, and they're
your boy Sanchez.
Yes, yeah, Turner. And this is a big sign because Turner hit the home run, and that's a big deal. He needs to be hot. I'm sorry, I digress.
No, I agree with you. But Anthony, I also do like. I bet Brandon Cooks under 38.5 yards. Brandon Cooks has been least and less involved as they've played, and they've been using Jalen Tolbert, who was their third round pick from 2 years ago. Tolbert's actually looked better to me of the two.
He has. He's looked good.
Getting a big snap count. I also took Tolbert over 2.5 receptions. I think Tolbert. Here's my little bit of a hot take. I think Tolbert outgains Brandon Cooks' share in yards. And I already know Ferguson will. But I think Cooks has had a very nice career. He's probably played 10 years. Really had a very productive career. But I think we've seen the end of his days where he was been a premier kind of guy. And to me, I think Brandon Cooks is more of an afterthought now on that team. And I think Tolbert is even going to surpass him. And Tolbert's over-under was 10 yards lower, so I took a chance there.
Yeah, I like that. All right, let's do one more, and I want to get Joe on for us. Yep. Cincinnati and Carolina. Andy Dalton, what a difference that Andy Dalton made in this game. Oh, my God. Last week, they actually looked like an NFL team.
And watching that game was just absolutely incredible watching. But, yeah, Andy Dalton played phenomenal. Like, he actually, again, I actually thought he played a great game. And I actually used the word, I thought he played great. The pass he made to Thielen was unbelievable. And Deontay Johnson got up. It was just
wow. And we all wondered about Deontay Johnson because you thought that was a really good pick. Now, when you get a competent quarterback in there, you saw how valuable Deontay Johnson can be.
Yeah, no, it's everything. And right now, Parks, Anthony, listen to this. Parks has this line now at 4 points. Listen, we watched on Monday night, okay? We saw a Cincinnati Bengals team, which, by the way, if you had them in your elimination like I did, I'm now out of all mine. Bengals knocked me out week 1 and week 3 in all my elimination polls. But anyway, a defense that really struggled. You talk about the defensive line, which I thought was very shrewd by you, that they really just didn't have the guys there to stop them. But I'm just going to be a little stubborn here. Laying 4 against the Carolina team that I still think with Chase and Higgins, 2 good running backs in Brown and Moss, at least serviceable backs, and Joe Burrow looked very good to me on Monday night. I think the hate's gone a little bit too far. While I really do respect Andy Dalton, I lean Bengals here laying the 4.
Well, the thing you got to watch with Cincinnati is how healthy are they up front along the defensive line, because their tackles were an issue. I mean, they were thin on the front, right? Like their 2 starting tackles were hurt, and they only had 4 healthy ones. One was banged up early. I mean, that was their biggest problem. They couldn't stand up front.
You're 100%, Anthony. You're 100%. That's why they didn't punt once the entire game.
I know.
They didn't punt once the entire game. It was more of an issue, Anthony, pass rush wise. But here's the difference to me. It was more that they actually did well run defense. Brian Robinson had 14 carries for 30 yards. It was more they couldn't get pressure on Jaden Daniels, and when they did, I mean, God, Jaden Daniels is elusive and this is unbelievable. Now facing Andy Dalton, you're not going to face that same guy that can create what Jaden Daniels created.
Correct.
Jaden Daniels, with his athleticism, that's just with the way their defense was, made it impossible.
No, I agree.
This is just matchup-wise, much easier. I say the Bengals get off the schneid, get this win, and for people betting, get the cover.
Yeah, I'm with you. I love that pick. All right, I want to bring on my man, Joe Bartnik, who is a funny guy, great sports guy too, Brad. He's a fun sports guy. Bill Burr's podcast, Joe is there. In fact, Joe will be here tomorrow night at Parks for Comedy Night with hosted by the great Joe Conklin. Joe, good evening, my man.
Thanks, cuz. How you doing?
You know what's funny? Joe has this voice that just makes you laugh and smile. Like your personality, right off the bat, when I first met you, I just had to smile. You make people smile.
I try to bring joy.
I can tell. You got that kind of vibe about you. You're a good vibesman.
I am. I'm a good hang. I know how to hang. I kind of fit in. Little Dusty Rhodes. Plumbers, I eat chicken, pork and beans, and hanging kings and queens. That's a bad Dusty Rhodes. But you know what I mean. I can hang out. I like having a few drinks, talking sports. This is fantastic. So great to be on your show, cuz.
So it's funny because you're from the western side of the state, right?
Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Where part? Did you grow up in the town? Or?
I was born in South Side, then we lived in Castle Shannon, Baldwin. My parents live in Bethel Park now, so I've always been in the South Hills. If you know anything about Pittsburgh, it's divided by hills and tunnels.
Yeah.
No one goes besides where there's places in North Hills I've never been my whole life.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So did you obviously grow up a huge Steeler guy?
Huge Steeler fan. I'm old enough to remember I call them my Steelers. I used to go to games in 1976. My parents and my grandparents had season tickets. And there was no women and 5 kids.
Oh, my God. I can imagine. That's like the Roman Coliseum.
It was a real home field advantage.
I remember covering games when I was a sports writer and at Three Rivers, and it was just nasty. Like, toward the end of Three Rivers, and when the terrible towels were rolling, that place was amazing.
We were in section 616, row T, and from basically S up, it was called the beer pool. This 400-pound guy named Chris, he wouldn't stop until he got to S and just drop off cases and cases of beer. And everyone would just throw in $20 and just keep passing them around. Don't make Chris pass them. Go run down and bring more.
Oh, that's fabulous.
Yeah, it was a big
the characters, I can only imagine.
It was a big family. Then they moved stadiums, or they built a new stadium. And my dad, he was older, so he got seats down below. And they kept going, oh, bougie Joe Bartnik, he can't hang up here anymore.
It was great, too. Joe Bartnik. Was your father Joe, too?
My father's Joe, too,
yeah.
Yes.
Joe Bartnik is such a Pittsburgh name. That's a Pittsburgh Bartnik. That's Joe Bartnik, right? Hanging at the pub.
Exactly, yeah. The saloon, the bar, the pub, yeah.
Yeah, I could totally see it. What's it like working with Bill? It's incredible. The Bill Burr podcast, and, it's just fantastic.
Bill's just the quintessential guy. He's a sports guy. He's a real guy. He's a real man. He's a great man. And so many. He's so great at so many things. I'm trying to blow him or whatever. But he's a helicopter pilot as a pastime. His hobby. He's more accomplished in his hobbies than I am in my career. But work with him is just a blast, and get to play Madison Square Garden and the Forum and Red Rocks and stuff. And then he produced my special for Amazon Prime and on YouTube, and I was on Bill Burr's Friends Who Kill on Netflix. He's helped me more than he's just been a big brother to me. And now I'm on my own most of the time. But every now and then, next week, we're going Michigan, Washington, in Washington.
Oh, wow. That's cool, man.
Yeah, once a year, me, him, and Paul Versley, we pick a city, do a show, and then go see a college game.
Oh, that's cool, man.
So we've seen so many great places, like the Big House, Michigan, Notre Dame. We've been in Tallahassee. We've been in Alabama.
Oh,
in Texas.
Brian, Denny Stadium is incredible. Oh. Texas, I love going to Austin. How about that scene Saturday nights?
Oh, absolutely. How about Arch Manning running around?
Yeah, he's a player, dude.
He's looking good.
And it's funny, Pat McAfee said it, he could be the best Manning, and he just looks, it's amazing. He looks like a quarterback.
Yeah. Well, it's in the genes.
It is.
Just seeing him run, though. No Manning ran like that.
No, that's the difference.
Yeah.
Eli certainly didn't.
No,
and Peyton was a statue.
What's funny, though, Eli, though, he really has Hall of Fame credentials.
Well, remember, we're in Philadelphia, and we
you hate him.
Yes, we hate him.
Yeah. You guys hate a lot of people.
Yes, we do.
I mean, as a Penguins fan, I
hate the Penguins.
I get a brunt of all that hate.
Yes. In fact, there's Sidney Crosby.
Now we're going, cuz.
Could be top 3 hate. All right?
Absolutely.
In the history of Philadelphia.
Because he sticks it to you guys because of Captain Kangaroo, Ken Hitchcock, said he's a whiner and a baby. Yeah, have another sandwich, Hitchcock, you bum. He stole that Stanley Cup from Buffalo all year, and he's skating the crease, no goal. Brett Hall, let him win the cup.
Now you better watch. Flyers are on the uptick now. We got a franchise player a kid by the name of Matvey Michkov. He's a kid from Russia. He's 19.
Right, he's very good. That's the beauty of Tortorella, is you're always going to be good enough to never get a lottery pick. That's right. Because I mean, it used to be you. Because my biggest, I'm a huge Steeler fan, but hockey's my favorite sport.
Is it really?
Yes. And my grandfather was a Penguins fan forever when they wore blue, unironically, and you guys beat the hell out of us for it was from Nixon to 1989. We never won in Philly. It's the same division.
Yes.
How is that even humanly possible? So we got our asses kicked by you guys forever. Then we got Lemieux.
You remember that division?
Oh,
the James Patrick division.
Oh, the Patrick. Yeah, there's hatred still runs deep in that division.
Oh yeah.
And then
that was a blood division.
Blood. And then it was 2-2. It was 2-2 forever. And then Sid comes to town. Him and Gino. It's the best thing about those two. They hate Philly as much as I do. The Flyers. That's the funny thing. People are good in Philly. I love everything about Philly. The people, the food, everything except the Flyers.
Yeah, well, listen. That's healthy.
That's what makes it so much fun.
Yes.
Without the rivalry, what would we have?
No, dude, that's exactly right. It's healthy to do that. I will say this, because we get a bad reputation. Well, we have a reputation. Some of it's, warranted. But remember when Mario comes back, when Super Mario comes back from the Hodgkins, he was in Philadelphia, and we gave the standing ovation tribute to Lemieux.
Yeah, it was total class. That's one thing. Lemieux kind of rises above it.
Yes, agreed.
The hatred for Sid.
Yes. Sid, forget about it.
But the funny thing
is, Sid.
The funny thing is, it's 5. I always say now, it's 5-2. And the only scoreboard in life that counts, I can die in peace.
Yes. I know.
But it's so funny, though. Maybe not you, but a lot of Flyer fans now begrudgingly give him his due. They hate to, but they do.
I mean, listen, he's great. Listen, great player.
Yeah.
I mean, what's more to say? And it's funny because the franchises were close. And you remember, I guess it was 2014. It was Giroux, and we had that great series, high-scoring series.
Oh, yeah, there's no goaltending.
Yes.
They could have put an orange cone out there. They've been better than Florida.
It's unbelievable. And then the Penguins go like this, and the Flyers go sideways and down. And that's kind of where it's been.
Yeah.
So what's it like on the road? Like, you're on the road how many nights a year, basically?
Pre-COVID, I know that's like antiquated. Pre-COVID, I was either in New York. I was in New York a third of my life, LA a third of my life, and in the ether a third of my life. Now it's just about 2 weekends a year I'm gone.
Okay.
A month. A month.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's still like, what do you have the road down pat now? Like,
I have. Well, first of all, but I mean, TSA pre-clear. I walk through like James Bond. You have to.
Yeah.
I mean, to take my shoes off at an airport, no, thank you. I'll sit on customer service for 9 hours. Hey, my pre didn't come on my car. No, I do have it. I'm used to hotel living. I actually prefer it. Because this way I know where my keys are. I don't need to find my keys. I don't need to find my car. It's like, but everything's in one drawer.
Right. Yeah. One room,
one drawer. I just need a big, nice TV, a shower, and a bed. That's all I need.
Yeah.
My house, I lose everything all the time. That's all my wife does is look for my stuff all day long. She goes, I spend half my life looking for your crap.
Does she like you home or on the road?
She loves me on the road.
Yeah. That's great.
I mean, and then you come home, you're happier. You haven't seen her in a while.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Exactly.
And you have a daughter at Berkeley.
The boo. She's killing it up, but it's amazing. People say, "Did the apple fall far from the tree?" Like someone picked up the apple and threw it. I just got to learn how to spell Berkeley correctly, like this year.
Good for you. God bless you. Give me your NFL predictions. What do you got? What are you thinking?
Steelers looking okay right now.
Your boys. Brad, what do you think of the Steelers? Say hello to Brad. He's the brain.
Hey.
He's an amazing professional sports bettor.
Oh, that's a great thing to be, professional sports bettor.
He's the ambassador from the BetPark Sportsbook app.
Well, it's interesting. Look, the Steelers, before the year, I got to tell you, look, I know life, death, taxes, and Mike Tomlin winning 9 games are the only 3 certainties. So what did I do? I bet the Steelers under 8.5 wins. Felt very good about it. And I was like, you know what? Any team with Justin Fields and Russell Wilson at quarterback, I don't know much. I know they can't be good. But you know what? Listen, first 2 games of the year, first 3 games of the year, they played really, really well. Great defense, great coach. It lets you know what that can do. This week against an Indianapolis team that, look, Anthony Richardson to me is so raw. Like, I only could lean Pittsburgh here, in my opinion. You just know they're going to play well defensively. Second against the run. I don't think Taylor's going to have a great game. It's going to be low scoring. We know that. And you know what? Fields, give him credit. While I'm not a fan of his, he hasn't turned the ball over much. And I think Pittsburgh will find a way to win a close game because they're, well-coached team, and they that's what they do. But they play from in front. As long as they have in front, I think they'll be a tough team to beat.
Well, Brad, you'll remember this last year. I had the over because it's Tomlin. You always take the over. And at Thanksgiving, they had 7 wins. They just needed 2 more to get to 9, and they lost to 2 2-win teams within 4 days.
Yes. I remember that.
I was like, there goes my Christmas. Yeah. And then, thank God, the backup kid came in. Now they shipped him off. But he saved
Mason Rudolph.
Yeah, Mason Rudolph literally saved Christmas.
How about that?
By taking and everyone's like, oh, they didn't win a playoff game. I'm like, yeah, they won the over. That's all that mattered.
There you go. That's it. That's Pittsburgh. What's it like, Pittsburgh, looking up at Philadelphia? Like, Philadelphia is the cosmopolitan city. It's the big city in the state. It's cachet. And what's it like looking up at Philadelphia your whole life?
I've never even looked over here. I'm too busy looking at my Super Bowl championships.
Yeah, you bastard.
The shine from the shine from the Lombardi trophies got in my eyes.
That's fantastic.
No, but it's so funny because they other than the Flyers, I loved Randall Cunningham. He's still the greatest. He's still the greatest Eagle quarterback of all time. No offense, Jaws, but I love Randall.
Yeah, I'm a big Randall guy,
I love
too.
I can still probably name 10 guys on the 76er team.
Well, it's funny. I saw a picture.
And I love the Sixers. And I was like, and until Black Monday, when they traded Moses Malone and the rights to Brad Doherty for Ruland and Mahorn, which is terrible. And then I love the answer.
Yeah, dude, you're Sixers.
I know my Sixers.
I'm impressed. I'm impressed, man. No, that was horrible. When they traded Moses, they traded Doherty, the Doherty pick, and got Cliff Robinson, Jeff Rowland. They were stiffs.
Yeah,
they were stiffs. How about it, Brad? That set us back in a major way.
Yeah, Roy Hinson. Yeah, that was.
Hinson. Oh.
It's funny. My least. Can I tell you what my least favorite moment from the Sixers was? Those guys, and that was. I remember that one well. I was very upset by that, but I went to Michigan. I was the biggest Chris Webber fan. I knew Penny Hardaway was a stud.
Sean Bradley,
second pick of the draft. Sean Bradley. I just remember the pain that went through me. I'm like, oh my God, Sean Bradley. I go, they're gonna this to me is gonna set the franchise back 10 years. Which
and it
really
did. Yeah.
Because if they'd taken Penny or Webb, and I remember, and I love Coach Lynham. He's one of my nicest guys I've met. Huge fan of his. He's the best. But I remember he was like, oh, we got them to, we convinced Orlando to take our Golden State. I forget how they went out. He's like,
Golden State Orlando traded.
Taking Hardaway or Weber, and then they thought they got this big coup getting Sean Bradley. And I know a lot of people thought that at the time, in fairness to Coach Lynham. But man, I remember me as a Sixer fan.
That was horrible.
That was my low point.
Well, this year is the year. All right, this is the year. So Joe,
maybe
you're gonna book Parks in June. All right,
for the NBA championship parade.
Yes.
Joel Embiid. What's the over/under and how many games he's playing this year?
All that matters is the playoffs.
I'm just asking a question.
I know. Playoffs. Paul George. I love and Maxi's a superstar.
He's good. That kid's good.
And you get George, and I love what Morey did, putting his team around them. I think they're really good. We're excited. Monday is media day for the Sixers, so it's going to.
Does it make you sick that all the Villanova guys went up for the Knicks?
Yeah.
I'm sorry to run.
Yeah.
No, because it's Team Villanova.
In fact, it does. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
I love.
It cripples me.
No, that's
you like to cripple people?
No, I don't. I used to love it. And you'll love this because I know you're a Villanova guy. I'm sure, right?
Oh yeah, I'm a big Philadelphia.
The 80s Big East was the greatest basketball ever.
Unbelievable.
The greatest. It was the greatest.
Georgetown, St. John's, Syracuse, Jimmy Boeheim, Derek Coleman. How about it, Brad? There were a ton of them. Walter Berry, Walter Berry, St. John's.
Think about what the job that Calhoun did.
He was a great coach.
Connecticut was a doormat in the 80s.
Yeah.
And now they literally became Duke.
Yeah. Nah, dude, you're right on. You're right on.
It's an incredible. That was my favorite era of basketball. Was 80s Big East. Me and my dad and my cousins would always go to the Big East at Madison Square Garden.
It's fabulous.
And watch
you're a great sports guy, man.
I
appreciate that. So tomorrow night, you'll be here at Parks. What time's the show?
I think the show's at 8.
8 o'clock. So people have to come and check him out. He's hysterical. You just look at him, you'll start smiling and laughing. All right? Dude, thank you, Joey.
Cuz, thanks for the time.
What a pleasure.
You're the man.
Yeah, what a pleasure, dude.
Come out if you're not busy.
I will. Thanks,
so
buddy.
much fun. Thank you.
You're really terrific. Joe Bartnik, Brad, great guy, funny guy, really good. Make sure you check him out. In fact, Joe Conklin's comedy night, and Joe Bartnik will be there. He's terrific. I love Brad. You'll appreciate this. We love our sports guys. Like automatically, I knew I could have a great conversation with Joe because he's no fugazi. Like he knows sports.
I got to tell you, Anthony, though, that was like the Big Mondays at the Carrier Dome. Billy.
Yeah, that was great.
Jerm Douglas. Those were my favorite.
Big Monday. Man. Yeah, I used to love that. Yeah. All right, let's get back. We got a lot of games to cover.
Yes,
so let's get people make them some money. Broncos, Jets 7.5 after Denver, and Bo Nix with the big upset.
Look, Anthony. I'm very big Jets this year. They were my biggest investment in the AFC. Had them win the division. Had them go to the Super Bowl. I really very pro Jet. That being said, I actually did bet Denver here getting 7.5.
Wow.
I did. I love Coach Payton. Now, again, I know I could get egg on my face on this one. I can easily get a situation where Bo Nix gets absolutely swarmed up by that Jets defense. But with his mobility, Jacoby Brissett didn't have any kind of mobility. Bo Nix can at least extend plays. He already went up against really tough defense in Pittsburgh, obviously. But I thought that was a little too high. And while I think Jets are definitely the way better team, I thought 7.5 was a little bit too rich for a team. And by the way, it's watching the Jets, Andy. They just play. While I like them, I like the talent. I love the two running backs. Brown Allen to me, very underrated guy. I think it's going to be a stud. But they play so slow. My God, it's it's almost like watching like molasses. So I just think for the team like that to get margin, I think they're going to have a great year. The Jets. I think they're definitely going to win the game. Have no problem with them in teasers, but winning by margin. Not my favorite team to do it with. I say the Jets win this.
I agree with you. I completely agree. And Peyton is a great coach. He's a prickly fella, but he's a great coach. Texans 6.5 over Jaguars. Dougie P in trouble. It's amazing, man. Trevor Lawrence going the Wentz route. Wow.
I got to tell you something. It's funny. I'm glad you said that. And this is why I just. Things like this just get it. And I'm like, okay, you draft the guy number 1, and I get it. You want him to be great. You want him so badly to be great. He was sunshine. You think he's going to be there. I get it. It doesn't need to be explained to me. But through 4 years, he was okay. I'm not going to say.
Well, I mean, like 2 years ago, he had a good year. I mean, he was 30 touchdowns and 8 interceptions, or 27 and 8.
One good year out of 4, maybe. I'm just saying.
Well,
to make him the highest paid player. What's the rush? Why not make him show it another year? Well,
here's the problem. The rush is you're trying to get him above market or below market if he, blows up the way you expect him to. And the other truth is you're married to him no matter what because you need him. You're not going to start over. You need him to succeed. So then you're in the game. Then you're in the game of, well, that's just the cost of doing business, quarterbacks, right? I feel you.
Yes.
But
when you make him the highest paid player, though, how much are you getting him below market, Anthony? That would be my counter.
Well, it's 3 years. Talk to me, right? I don't know. I don't know how far it's going to go up.
I just think it's just I don't know. But look, and here's the thing with Dougie P, Anthony. I think first coach fired. Would you agree?
Yeah. Regrettably,
to run the ball. I don't like when I watch them. Their defense looks horrible.
Yeah.
I don't like body language.
No, they're not poor. They're poorly coached. I feel bad saying it because I listen, Doug will always be in our hearts. But no, dude, you're right. Listen, it's not. They're not well coached, and he's going to lose his job. This is a shame.
This line opened 4.5, and I bet the Texans. I said, "How is this 9 not 7?"
Yeah.
And then it actually went to 6. Then it briefly went to 7, back down to 6.5. Look, I know the Texans look god awful, Anthony. God awful against the Vikings. Horrible performance. Horrible. But here's the difference. I think they are a good team. I do.
I agree.
I think they're a good team.
Yeah, I agree.
I think the Jaguars. By the way, if this thing doesn't, I could see the Jaguars, Anthony. If they start off like 0-5, they could go 2-15. I'm just saying, I like the Texans here. I say they win this one by at least a touchdown. I believe in one team. I don't believe in the other even a little.
Agreed. Bears 2.5. Rams stunning comeback against the Niners last week.
Yeah, look, I thought this line should be 1.5. It actually got to 3, and I bet the Rams +3. Because to me, this is just an even game. An even game. And I'm going to take, if you want to give me 3 points now, it's 2.5. It's a different story, obviously. But I see like two teams that have a lot of flaws. One team is a great coach, but it's had so many injuries. It's just sad with Kupp and Nakua, all the offensive linemen. But they have a brilliant coach. Okay, and then the other team, man, their offensive line, Anthony, I don't know how much of the Bears you've watched. And the way they just go back and throw Cale Williams the ball 96 times a game.
I know.
DeAndre Swift has looked horrible. I've always thought he's a decent player. Watching the Bears has been like bad news Bears. I mean, they've been, again, I think it's a 50-50 game.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, I hate the game. I wouldn't play it. But like you said, I think there's definitely
if you can get 3, I think it's worth a bet.
Yeah, there's value in the Rams. I completely get it. How about we've been talking about them? You loved Minnesota going into the season. They've been the story so far. Sam Darnold, they wrecked the Texans. Now that's a great game. Minnesota at Green Bay.
Look, game of the week, right? Has to be. I mean, that has to be the game of the week. Let me look right now on the Parks line. Is it sitting at 2.5 or is it sitting at 3? It's sitting at 2.5. Okay.
Yeah.
Look, to me, this is one of those games where if it's the Vikings have been the best team in the NFL. I think we would all. But Buffalo, I guess you could argue, but I think they've been the most impressive team, and they've outcovered the spread. I think by 61 points. What the spread was, they've beaten the spread by 61 points in the 3 games, which is like top 10 of all time through 3 games in the NFL season. Darnold's been great, but here he is injured. I don't know how injured he is. He hurt his knee. Love is going to be back in this game.
Yeah.
I think LaFleur is another really good coach. Look, I'm gonna back here, even though I'm rooting for Minnesota.
Yeah, I like Green Bay in the game too.
I'm gonna back Green Bay here. I say Green Bay gets this win. I would bet this now, and if you can get it under 3, because 3 changes everything. But at less than 3, only way I can look is a tough, solid Green Bay team at home. Love's really good. A lot of respect for the Vikings, but I don't think they're gonna be good enough to pull this one out.
All right, Eagles saw the last 2 opponents: Saints at Atlanta. So Saints and Falcons, Atlanta slight favorite here on the Bet Parks, the sportsbook, 1.5.
Yeah, Anthony, look, I see this game, and this is how I look at this game, and you obviously know these teams well, having watched them this last 2 weeks too. I kind of slightly think Atlanta's a little bit better. Atlanta's played a really tough schedule, playing an undefeated Pittsburgh team, playing an undefeated Chiefs team, facing a team that should have been undefeated in Philly. Okay. Now, New Orleans played Bryce Young, hapless. Great win against Dallas, but geez, is Dallas even any good? And then last week, I know the scoreboard showed 15-12. What was the score? 15, 18, 15, whatever the
Yeah.
score was. I thought the Eagles kicked their you-know-what's in. I thought it was one of those games where if you were just watching the game and not keeping the score, you'd say the Eagles won by 17 points. I thought they physically manhandled the Saints. I didn't like the Saints' game plan. You talked about that on your show. I agree with you. I think you're very astute. I'm gonna listen. I thought this line should be closer to 3, maybe not quite 3, but closer to 3. Where I just think that I have a slightly better team at home. I think they find a way to go 2-2 here, and I think that the Falcons win this game.
We're saving Eagles and Bucks for last. New England and San Francisco. San Fran, a 10-point favorite over the Patriots. San Fran, the McCaffrey thing's dangerous, man. The fact that he has to go to Germany, right? Like that tells you leaps and bounds. Oh yeah. Man,
he's not going to play. And they just lost Hargrave. Look, listen,
Hargrave was a big loss up front for them. Yep.
We know the NFL, Anthony, is the biggest game of attrition in the world. It's yes, how good you are, but how healthy are you? Because it's an unfair sport. No one cares about your injuries, but man, you get them and they never end. It's like what's the Olive Garden, the never-ending breadbasket? Like injuries in the NFL, it never ends. It's so hard, and it's whoever gets lucky. Let's just call a spade a spade. Did Shanahan become a worse coach? No, but with the hand he's dealt, I think this team's just really banged up. Not anxious to bet New England. Not a game I'm betting on, but I'm not laying 10 with an injured San Francisco team. But this is not a game I'm staying away.
Nah, you got to stay away. I'll tell you a really good game, and it's a 4:05 game, not the 4:25. This game I'm interested in watching. Arizona and Washington, right? Kyler Murray and Jaden Daniels, man. I'm looking forward to watching that game.
The only thing, I was hoping this line would come in at 3, and I was going to bet Arizona. I think Arizona is better than Washington.
Yeah.
Look, we go by what we last saw, and Jaden Daniels obviously played 3 game. But Arizona, I think, is the better team. I do. I trust them a lot more defensively, I'll tell you that. I think Washington maybe 32nd in offense. Now, Washington, Anthony, crazy stat here. They have not punted since the fourth quarter of the Tampa Bay game. They've scored on 17 straight possessions.
That's wild.
But that's not easy to do. Look, it's 3.5. Gosh, I wish it was 3. The only way I'm looking here, I think Arizona wins this game. I think they win this game probably by about a touchdown. And I think Daniels slows down a little bit here. I think Kyler Murray outplays him in this one.
All right, let's go. The Browns and the Raiders. Ew. The Raiders are a 1-point favorite. God forbid. I hate that. You know what's funny? That Deshaun Watson is my least favorite player in a long time. Forget about all the stuff that happened. Just his body language. He's got such a loser body language.
Andy, I agree with you every single thing you say. I couldn't agree. He's my least favorite guy. Literally, and you're right. Forgetting all the other stuff. The
masseuse. Forget that for a second.
I could talk about that for 20 hours.
Yeah.
All the other stuff, which is horrible. And you're running to pay this guy at $250 million. Like, this is what I talk about an organization.
Yeah.
This is the stuff that just angers me. It's like you're running to pay this guy $250 million. Where does your research? Where's your saying?
I know.
Maybe this is a good guy. Maybe this is a guy. We don't want to have this guy be the face of our franchise. And you say to yourself, man. And by the way, I remember when he came back, Anthony. I gave you a comp. I don't know if you remember. I go, when Michael Jordan took the 2 years off from baseball, he came back, and it was the one time he didn't look like Michael Jordan. And he was not great that year where they lost to Orlando. And when Deshaun came back the first year, I was very confident he was not going to be good, and he wasn't. He was awful. I'm like, you know what? He was 26 years old. I'm like, I think he could come back and just get it back. Man, he stinks. He stinks. He's like the worst quarterback in the league. Almost.
He stinks. Yeah, he stinks.
Yeah, look, this is not a game I'm betting. If anything,
all right. I'm with you. If anything, the Raiders, I'm with you. The Chiefs and Chargers, 8 is too great. I just think that's too many points. Especially with the Chargers and Harbaugh play, I think this is going to be a low-scoring game.
Anthony, you just said it. This is going to be a low-scoring game. Total in the game is 40. Look, I'm pretty sure we're not going to get Herbert. I'm almost positive we're not going to get Herbert. This is just going to be an ugly, low-scoring, probably the Chiefs pulled out 20-13, 17-14. It's going to be a low-scoring, ugly game. Only way I can look is the Chargers, but not a game I'm betting. I just think it's going to be a low-scoring game, and not going to. But I'm not laying points with the Chiefs like this.
No, I'm with you. The game of the day is awesome. Buffalo, who is just rolling.
Yeah.
Now they're at Baltimore, and that's going to be. I can't wait to watch that game Sunday night. That's actually a great football game.
Anthony, we agree. Once again, this game, what did we just talk about? I said Buffalo, we saw them look incredible, the world beaters. We know about the NFL. I try not to overrate one performance. Now, Josh Allen to me, Anthony, look, he right now may be the best player. He may, sacrilegious to say it, he may be better than Mahomes right now. I'm watching him play. Again, he's just a joy to watch. I think he's so great. I don't have enough adjectives to describe how great I think he is. But here's the thing, Anthony. I think Baltimore is the better team. They're at home. I think that we watched Buffalo lose. They should have lost to Arizona, in my opinion. Yeah, they beat a Miami team that is not that good, and they won last week against an awful Jacksonville team. I say Baltimore wins this game at home. I like Baltimore. I think it's right.
Yeah, I listen. I kind of feel you. Although they're just playing such good football, but I agree with you. Hey, don't forget we're here. You see it at the Sportsbook, Parks Casino. Man, one of the many things we love about Parks is this incredible sportsbook and all the slots and table games and everything else. But we told you about Joe Bartnik, and he'll be here tomorrow night with Joe Conklin's Comedy Night. The Excite Center is a state-of-the-art entertainment venue right here. Parks Casino, Street Road exit off of 95 at the PA Turnpike. Lots of great stuff happening here. October 4th, the Juicy Scoop podcast with Heather McDonald from Bravo and Chelsea Lately. October 5th, Kev Herrera. October 24th, TLC. November 1st, Invincible, tribute to Michael Jackson. November 16th, rocker Brett Michaels. November 23rd, comedian Steve Trevino. December 6th, Patti LaBelle. They have all kinds of great stuff here. Parks Casino, this is how you win. ParksCasino.com to buy tickets for all shows. If you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, last couple games before we get out of here. The Monday night ones before we get to the Eagles. The Monday night doubleheader. I don't know about you. I love the doubleheader. I just wish they would stagger it a little more.
Yeah, once again, we agree. Anthony, I got to tell you, I think always agree with you. I think the exact same thing. Like, I love the doubleheader, but why not just spread it out a little bit?
Yeah.
More? It's annoying. Like, I'm going back and forth. Now, it happened to be okay last week because we saw a blowout and the game, so it was easy to me to just say, all right, we're done with the Bills game. But I love watching football, and it's like
I know.
So why not spread it out like an hour and a half, 2 hours? I don't
mean, it's 6:15 and 9:15. You
exactly.
don't want to go.
I don't get it.
Yeah,
you're going to get the ratings either way. Stop.
Exactly. Tennessee, Miami. That's a hold your nose.
This is
stinko.
Tough game. Will Levis to me has just been.
He's
horrible.
Mayo.
There's no way of saying it.
Yeah.
I think we get Huntley at quarterback, which I think will be an upgrade for Miami.
I kind of like the Dolphins in that game.
Yeah, the only way I could look is Miami. He at least has shown in the past he could be Tyrod Taylor-esque, where he's like a guy that can come in and like at least be serviceable, and so I'm going to lean here that way. Not a game I'm betting though, because man, it's just hard to trust anything about Miami without Tua. Not that Tua is good. I think Tua is vastly overrated, but I guess this is why these teams pay these quarterbacks $50 million, because then when you see what happens when Skylar Thompson comes in, and you can't even. It's just pretty dreadful.
I love the Lions Monday night. I think that there's margin there.
Yeah, Anthony, listen, I agree. Look, this line has actually gone down. It opened at 4.5, down to 3.5. I think the Lions are the better team. And I like Seattle. Their team, I bet they're over, and I actually bet them at 8-1 to win the division. So I'm rooting for them to have a good year. But I'm with you, Anthony. I think the Lions at home. I feel very comfortable they're going to win the game. And if they win by 1, 2, or 3, I'll take my medicine.
All right, Eagles and Tampa. We always say the Eagles for last on the NFL slate. Tampa, 2.5-point favorite. I mean, it looks like, I don't think AJ's going to want to play in. How do you see it? How do you? Tampa got smashed by Denver at home last week. How do you see this one?
Well, Andy, look, first of all, I think we're going to see a game. And again, we talked about the top of the show, right? I think the Eagles are better equipped now. They went like if they had this happen last year,
Yeah.
forget about it. Like it would have been, in my opinion, just the way the way they're coached, the way they like to play. I just don't think it would have been a good recipe. But a game like this, I think that with Barkley, I think they could just say, okay, listen, we'll get enough runs with Hurts in the offense. We're going to run Saquon. You're going to get you're going to get all you can eat carries on and that game. And I think we've seen a Tampa Bay team that look, Godwin's played well. Evans hasn't been as good. I think it's going to be a lower scoring game. It opened at 45 down to 44. I think we're going to see a lot of like longer possessions potentially. Where I think it's going to be, again, we talk about playing slow. I think the Eagles are going to try to hopefully play slow. And I think there's a comment like, listen, let's have some long drives. Let's try to keep our defense off the field and whatnot. I think the Eagles win this game, Anthony. I do. I think they're better than Tampa. I think they extract some revenge. And I told you, I think they're built better this year.
Wow, Brad likes the Birds.
I do. And
Brad likes the Birds. Look at that.
I saw what I wanted to see defensively last week against New Orleans. If I hadn't seen that, I never could. But Jalen Carter,
Jalen Carter's a beast.
That was the best defensive line game I've seen. That was the best interior defensive line game I've maybe seen besides Aaron Donald in years.
Yeah.
So, I think the Eagles win this game. I think it'll be close. Definitely still don't mind Tampa Bay and teasers getting 8.5. But laying 2.5, I think the Eagles win a close one here, and I think it's on the lower side.
Well, remember the Eagles are getting 2.5, so you got to love that.
No. The Eagles are laying 2. They're actually laying 2. It's down to 2. They're laying 2. But I think the Eagles, Anthony.
Forgive me. I'm sorry.
I think the Eagles cover this one, Anthony. I think they find a way to win a close game here. I think it'll be close. I think it'll be exciting. But I think they win a game by 3, 4, 5, 6 points. I think it'll be a very exciting close game.
Wow. I like it. You like the Birds, man. That's a big deal.
I do.
That's a big deal.
Again, Saquon Barkley, Anthony. Saquon Barkley to me is the difference where now you and again, listen.
Did that line move? I swore it came out where they were a dog.
It opened. I saw 2.5, Anthony, at the open for the Eagles. Now I see it down to 2. It'll never get to 3. It'll never get to 3.
Right.
It's funny, like a couple buddies of mine, like casual fans, go, "How are the Eagles even favored?"
Right.
And they asked me, "Why are the Eagles even favored here with all their injuries?" Well, Tampa Bay is missing, I believe, 5 defensive starters as well. So it's not just, as we talk about attrition, and we talk about the NFL, you're worried about everyone here, about Lane Johnson, Devonta Smith, A.J. Brown. That's more significant than what Tampa Bay has, I admit that. But, again, maybe I'm falling too much for that last performance against New Orleans. I really liked what I saw defensively, and I just think there has to be, with the pride factor, what Tampa Bay did to them in that playoffs, I'm thinking they're like, we can't wait. I'm looking forward to this game. That was the most humiliating loss of our season, right up there. Like, I want revenge. And I think that the defense played. I think it's going to be close. Let me make this clear. I think it's going to be a very close game. 21-17, 2016. I think it's going to be a close, good, entertaining game that the Eagles find a way to win a close one. And I think it'll come down to the last 2 minutes.
All right. Before we get out of here real quick, the game of the weekend is in college football. Georgia, Alabama, Bryant Denny. So Georgia travels to Alabama and Jalen Milroe. How do you like it, man? Georgia's a slight favorite.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's a great game. I mean, it's obviously like the game of, as you said, I think it's the game of the year. It's interesting when I've watched Georgia this year, and I love Beck. I think he's really good.
Yeah.
And Anthony, you said something interesting to me, which I thought you were spot on, and you talked about that they did have a good game, and I actually backed the other side, and they beat Purdue easily. You talk about how Notre Dame this year maybe doesn't have the playmakers it's had in the past. Georgia this year, to me, they're short playmakers in my opinion.
I agree.
And you've seen this team struggle offensively, despite having arguably a Heisman Trophy guy.
Yeah.
I bet under 50 at the Open, Anthony. I think it's 49-ish now. I don't think there's going to be 51 points scored in this game.
No,
I really don't.
It's a great under.
I think we're going to have 2 offenses that are going to face 2 good defenses that are going to make this a lower scoring game, Anthony. And I think it's just too. I think it's too high of a total. I
Yeah.
really do. I don't know if there's enough playmakers. I really
Yeah.
don't.
I'm with you. Complete under. Any plays that you have in college for the folks?
Well, that was one of them, Anthony. I did bet that under. Anthony, it's funny. The Illinois Penn State game to me is an interesting game. Look, I know Penn State's a good team. I really do. But Illinois, I've actually been impressed with them. I know. Look, you watched them. I know we both were
Friday
from
night.
Nebraska.
Yeah.
Luke Altmaier's played well for them at quarterback. He didn't
Yeah.
play well 2 years ago. He's played well this year. 18 points to me just seems a little bit too rich.
Yeah.
To me.
High.
I respect Penn State. Definitely know Penn State's going to win the game. But do they win by basically 3 touchdowns? I'm going to say no.
Okay.
I think Illinois can keep this one respectable. I thought that line was a tick too high. Utah's playing Arizona, Anthony. Arizona's looked horrible this year. They were a good team I liked last year, but it has not translated this year. And we talk about playing slow. These teams play slow. I bet under 50.5. I think it's down to 48. I still like that under. Just think it's too high of a total for the way that pace is. Iowa State, Houston. Houston offensively is abysmal. One of the worst offenses in college football this year. You think of Houston in the past, used to be great. And Iowa State is elite defensively. They're landing single digits this year. The total is 44. I don't see either team getting 27 points in this one, basically. And I like under 44. I like a couple unders this week. Again, that's I think the lines were a little bit too high. And I told you, I think Illinois keeps this game respectable. And then look, it's interesting. Notre Dame is playing Louisville, Anthony. I had Louisville last week, which was I got a lucky win. I laid 9 against Georgia Tech. They got a punt return for a punt block for a touchdown, a fumble recovery for a touchdown. I was really not that impressed with Louisville. Now Notre Dame did not look great the first weeks, and then boom, they look just like world beaters. I do like the quarterback. Maybe I'm putting too much into what I just saw last, that recency bias we always talk about. But laying less than a touchdown. They lost to Louisville last year. I remember the game well.
Yeah, I like
Saturday
the Irish.
game. And I think Notre Dame, you lay 6. I think you win this one by a touchdown. I think Louisville is a tad overrated, in my opinion, having watched them now a few times.
Yeah, I'm with you. Great stuff as always, Brain, Mr. Ambassador of the Bet Parks Sportsbook app. My man, have a great night. And we'll talk to you later in the week. Get nuts as always. Thanks, brother. We appreciate it. Everybody, have a great night, man. We love you guys. We'll be ready to go 9 a.m. tomorrow. So hang with us, and we'll see you then.